Hello, I'm Tyler. Today I'm going to be showing you one of my personal projects. This lets you create beautiful articles like you can see here with a beautiful outline automatically generated there on the right. And you can generate all of this just with Markdown. So I'm going to show you that Markdown editor and how you can create articles like this. So over here we have our actual Markdown for this article. If you press Command E, you can toggle this quick preview over here that allows you to see what's getting rendered as you're typing. This is your Markdown over here. It is syntax highlighted, and something that is interesting is that we have a lot of these key bindings that allow you to perform commands really quickly. So for example, if you want to search, you click Command K, and we can go to the Augustine article. You can also click Command E like I showed you for opening the preview. Command Shift E opens the full screen preview like this. It's as easy as that, and as you type you can see what is typed, and it also works with bold, italic, things like that. Click Command B to automatically add the bold syntax. You can click Command I to add the italic syntax like that. We also have our command palette, which is going to be super helpful because this is Markdown, it's code. Sometimes you'll forget what the syntax is for adding specific things. Just press the slash and you can search for anything in here. Notably, we have a ton of icons, more than what's listed here. And if I want like a star, I can just get that star icon. And it'll automatically give me the syntax for a star. And you can see it rendered over here. Additionally, we also have these key bindings, special key bindings like Shift and Command Meta. This meta key will be Command on Mac, Control on Windows, or Linux, I suppose. And it's useful to search for these things as well as really any piece of Markdown syntax. Even if you just want a heading, like an H1, you can add it like that really quickly. And you can not have to remember all of this special syntax. Additionally, something else I really wanted to mention was that you can upload an image. So in a regular Markdown file, you'll have to link to either an image within your directory or an image that's out there publicly on the web. Here, you can actually upload your own image, and let's go ahead and upload this map here. It'll upload to our server, it'll save it, and then it'll automatically give you the Markdown and the link that you need to actually access that image, and you'll get it over here automatically. So I've talked about the Markdown editor quite a bit here. Something else I want to show is all of the components that we have. So this is extended Markdown, so you don't just have to have these regular Markdown components like headings, links, block quotes, bold, strike through, highlighted text, superscript, subscript, lists, horizontal rules. But you also have some special components that we'll get to later. This is an extended Markdown, so you can do more. It's more this is going to be more powerful than your regular Markdown editor. So let's go through all of that. First of all, we have these colors. Keep note of them. You'll be able to style different components with different colors. And these are the colors that are available to you. As I mentioned, we have headings, block quotes, and lists. I want to mention really briefly, you can nest lists in here, which is not always possible with Markdown editors. Lists and ordered lists, you don't have to change anything here. You'll get a different counter in your sublist. Horizontal rule, tables will render Markdown within the table cells, and it'll automatically render your header here like this. as we mentioned before, we have images. This one just uses a link from the web that gets a public image, but you can also upload your own images. We also have inline code. This is one of the first special kind of extensions of our Markdown syntax here, because you can color your inline code blocks like this by just adding this color attribute. And you can make it, again, error. You can use the primary, secondary color, success, info, warning, neutral colors. You can also syntax highlight inline code, which is not normally possible with regular Markdown editors. So here you just add this lang attribute and it'll allow you to syntax highlight code inline. Something else we have, you can normally syntax highlight blocks of code in regular Markdown. We have this nice copy button that lets you copy this code. And you can add the language here to syntax highlight it. But you can also add this here, which is the file name, or maybe just the name of the code block. And it will render up here that file name, as well as it'll attempt to find an icon that matches your file extension. Something else we have is inline math, which works the exact same as maybe the GitHub Markdown parser. It just uses this LaTeX syntax. Similarly with math blocks, it'll use the LaTeX syntax, and you can add more complex, bigger pieces of math into your pages. So here we have our components. If you just add a YouTube link to whatever video it is, it'll automatically render as an embedded YouTube video that you can play. I'm not going to play it here. And we have these additional components too. So these more complex components are an extension of the regular Markdown syntax. Usually with a double colon, you can add a bunch of these components, and they are available in the command palette. So you just use search for accordion, and it'll automatically add your syntax for the accordion, and you can create more by copy pasting, but it helps you remember the syntax that way. But yeah, we have this accordion that lets you kind of expand, and you can add it fully supports Markdown inside. We have this badge that you can add as any color that you want. We have callouts. You can add an icon here. You can also color it. There are these shortcut callouts. These are special callouts with special styling. So you can quickly create a note, a tip, a warning, a caution without having to deal with the extra syntax very quickly. We have cards, which you can actually add a URL to, as well as fully supporting the Markdown within. So you can click here. Here's hero icons. This is actually where we get all of the icons that you can use in the application. You can search for icons here, or again, you can search within the app. You can group cards. We have these code collapse. So if you have a really long piece of code, you can expand or collapse it. We have card groups that kind of work like tabs for different pieces of code that you can name, and our software will attempt to add those icons. See, we're not adding it here in the code. We also have code trees. If you want kind of a full file system to show up here, nested files, and you can click to open different files in this sort of mini file system. We have a collapsible, works a lot like an accordion. If you want to add fields with a field name, a field type, whether it's required, and a description that's Markdown supported, you can do so with a field. Field group groups together a bunch of fields. As I mentioned before, we have icons. You can use any of the hero icons and search for them in the command palette. And these can display inline. So you don't have to, they'll always display inline. You can display them anywhere inline Markdown is supported, even in like tables. Tabs, we've been using tabs this whole time, but tabs allow you to show different content depending on which tab is selected. And then finally we have steps. If you want to add some steps for some kind of process, you can do so here. All you have to do is add headings, tell it which level of heading are the different steps. So this is step 1, this is the first heading 3, this is another heading 3, so this is step 2, and everything else is rendered as the content in that step, as Markdown. So that's kind of an overview of all of the components. One more thing I'd like to share with you is the copy paste functionality. So I want to copy this piece of this kind of HTML rich text content from ChatGPT. I can just copy it. And in my Augustine article here, let's actually just paste it. And it converts it right into this Markdown. And then it converts it back over here to HTML that you can see matches what we were looking at over there. And so this is really handy for copy pasting. You don't have to manually figure this out every time. You can just paste and it'll figure it out. It'll figure out the Markdown syntax that's supported and it'll try to give it to you like that. So that is the copy paste functionality. And that is it. Yeah.